Welcome to Architech. This is Ritesh Srinivasan. In this video, let's look at the common mistakes committed by candidates during data science interviews. I've been doing data science interviews for the last 15 years for different positions, for interns, for data scientists, for researchers, and I see some common mistakes being committed by candidates. So let's look into what are these common mistakes and what are the ways to avoid them. If you are new here and if you like the content, please subscribe to the channel. Let's get started. The first and foremost mistake committed by many data science candidates are a lack of preparation. So when I say a lack of preparation, they don't look at the job profile or requirements and understand what it requires. They don't look at the company domain. They don't look at what the company is working on, right? Is it in healthcare? Is it in finance? Right? They are not knowledgeable on the interview pattern. Right? They have not looked at who is the interviewer, what is his or her expertise. For instance, if the candidate were to look at LinkedIn and find out the expertise or area of interest of the interviewer, they can then actually prepare or understand, like kind of expect what kind of questions can come in the interview, right? Similarly, for the other things like the job profile requirements or the company domain. So a candidate who is unprepared on these points is at a disadvantage to a candidate who has already prepared well, trying to understand the company and its issues, trying to understand the job requirements, well prepared for the interview pattern, how many rounds of interview, and also kind of done a background check on the interviewers so that they can prepare well. The next area is about technical depth and breadth. Right, so fundamentals are very important. I see a lot of candidates, talking about deep learning and other things, but then failing on very basic aspects like, data set split, overfitting, underfitting, or performance metrics or algorithms. So the candidates don't have that technical depth or technical breadth. So basically, depending upon the roles, you might require either a technical depth, or for certain roles, it is expected that you have technical breadth. So you know a variety of areas and you would be probably working on a variety of areas, or the role could be for a specific team working on a specific problem. Then the technical depth becomes more important. I see a lot of candidates doing well in interviews at high level concepts, but if you probe a little bit deeper and if you ask them a little bit deeper question, they are not able to answer. So this kind of puts them at a disadvantage. Some of the candidates also don't give importance to programming, because as a part of a data science interview, you will be also asked questions on logical thinking, analytical thinking. And when candidates don't give enough importance to that, they kind of fail in that scenario. So fundamentals are very important, so understand these fundamentals and then try to explain them in a way which is very clear, right? So technical lack of technical depth or breadth is actually a disadvantage. Now again, depending upon the experience level of the candidate, for a senior positions or for with 10 years of experience or something, then you need to have both technical depth and breadth. But for say a candidate who has just passed out of college and who has done a couple of projects in data science and is looking for an entry level position, it is better that he or she has technical depth in the projects. So if they may not have technical breadth, but it is good that they develop technical depth in certain projects in which they have worked on. This is a recent trend which I have seen where the resumes are full of keywords related to AI, data science, machine learning, and most of the candidates have done multiple online courses. What this does is actually it increases expectations on the candidate. Right? I've seen people put every keyword possible. It's kind of a double-edged sword, because at times if you don't put these keywords, your resumes don't get screened, but then it also increases expectations. So my advice would be that you put only those keywords on which you have knowledge on, and if you do these online courses, please develop concepts, knowledge of concepts in these online courses. Don't just do a course for the sake of completion. It is not going to help you, and it is actually going to be a big disadvantage in your interviews. So it is better that you put those keywords on which you have knowledge on, have an understanding of, right? Similarly, on the courses which you have completed, it is better to have a basic understanding of concepts in those courses, and probably also the practical application of those concepts. Just having certifications is not enough. It actually creates more problems for you. This is another big mistake which I see many candidates commit in the way they explain their past projects. So they don't explain their past projects in a proper way, in an end-to-end fashion. They just sometimes may explain just a small part on which they have worked, which is fine. But then you also have to have an overall overview of the project. Like for example, you would have worked on creating a model. Somebody else would have done ETL on the data and given to you. But still it is expected that you understand the ETL process, you understand your data. Right? Did you do exploratory analysis on the data? Did you do pre-processing on the data? Right? What issues you faced with model development? How did you tackle those issues? Sometimes people explain at a very high level on their past projects. Right? Sometimes I get excuses like, okay, I worked on this project a year back, I don't remember what I've done in that project, or which is totally unacceptable. Maybe if it is a 5-year-old project or a 10-year-old project, probably you would have forgotten on what you have worked on. But if it's just a project in the past year and you are not able to explain concepts clearly, it kind of puts you at a disadvantage. And this is a total no-no, like faking projects or faking your role in the project. For example, you would have just been a ETL person in the project, but you come over here at the interview and tell that you are a data scientist. It's better to avoid such scenarios, because experienced people would find it out very easily, would be able to find it out very easily with few questions that you don't have real experience and you are trying to fake your experience. So explaining past projects becomes very important. You need to explain it in a complete end-to-end manner. Even though your contribution in the project may be a small part, but it is better to understand the overall picture. It is better to understand your part very clearly, and what you have done. If you explain it in a proper fashion, it should help you. Next important part is communication skills. So for any interview, communication skills is very important. You need to clearly communicate based on the queries put by the interviewee. You need to have clarity of thought on what you are presenting, right? This is something which I have seen in many interviews, where people go into a defensive mode when asked questions. And in the process, what happens is that in the defensive mode, they keep committing more and more mistakes and they keep digging in deeper, right? So it is better that at a certain scenario, if you see that you are going in the wrong direction, or if you don't know the answer, it is better that you say that I am not sure. Like I know about this up to this level, probably I am not sure. I need to prepare more on that. It is better to have a positive, accommodative kind of attitude rather than a defensive attitude in interviews. It is also important that I have seen many people, if they are nervous, they start hurrying up things, right? So it is better that you prepare yourself in a way that you speak in a slow, clear manner, right? You don't hurry up things. You ask questions when and where required to make it more clear. Don't just jump into a solution when a question is asked, but ask more questions around the question till it becomes clear to you to put a solution, right? So that is the way to actually improve your communication skills. And also ask for feedback. I have seen very few candidates actually asking for feedback at the end of the interview. So if you have doubts about your job, if you have doubts about what is the role, right, it is better to get it cleared in the interview so that in the future rounds you can perform better, right? So it's always good to ask for feedback at the end of the interview. The feedback could be technical, the feedback could be on skills, the feedback could be on your soft skills, the feedback could be on what is the role and about the opportunity. So communication skills is very important for succeeding in data science interview. You need to be a good storyteller. You have to actually build up your profile in such a way and present your profile in a story such that it will fit the job requirement. So in summary, most of the mistakes are in the preparation for the interview. The way your resume is structured, right? Don't put too many keywords or courses. If you are putting something, be entirely sure of what is there in your resume. Have a good understanding of the technical concepts, depth wise as well as breadth wise. Now the depth depth to which it needs to be done is depending upon the role, but it is always good to go to a certain depth. If you might not have breadth, right, you might not have worked on multiple algorithms, but at least on the algorithms which you have worked on or the models you have worked on, having technical depth really helps. The way you put the projects on the resume and the way you explain these projects also plays a big part, and communication skill plays a very important part in how you present yourself in the interview. I hope these tips are useful for you to prepare for data science interviews, and you can learn from these and improve yourself. Even I have committed such mistakes in the past, but over a period of time I have tried to improve myself. So if you like such video, please subscribe to the channel. Please like, share this video. See you in the next video. Bye for now.